All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
We'll put 85 degrees on it at 6:20. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening tonight. Yeah, more from the Weather Center as forecasters begin to focus in on the haze that's hanging over us, more so than the heat. That's because we're seeing air quality numbers that are well above 200. A last-minute reprieve for a landmark Brooklyn church. The Department of Buildings decided to give the South Bushwick Reformed Church a few more days before the wrecking ball. Will explain why. New information tonight about that ill-fated helicopter on the Hudson last year, a crash which killed an entire family and the pilot. Experts now saying that birds, perhaps geese, might have played a part in that crash. 5 firefighters hurt today after a 4-alarm blaze up in the Bronx. They say it burned through at least 2 homes in the Fordham section. And Disney ordering the pilot for a reboot of the iconic M-I-C-K-E-Y. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse Club old school. It's where Britney Spears got her start. Coming up on 1010 Wins Entertainment. AccuWeather says tonight, partly cloudy skies, warm and hazy with a low of 73. Wednesday news time, 6:21. Let's get to where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
Here's Queens, Cross Island Parkway southbound coming down towards UBS Arena. Still this stubborn crash and the mess that goes back towards Bayside Marina. Now, the southbound Clearview is not going to cure all of your ills, but it's going to be better. Northbound Whitestone Expressway jammed up from the Northern Boulevard area to the Whitestone Bridge. So, again, Clearview Throgs next. Bronxbound going to be a much better bet in Queens. Eastbound BQE just after the Long Island Expressway. A collision has the right lane blocked. It's got you backed up in Flushing Avenue. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound side of the George, about an extra 10 on the upper lowers better. West Side Highway, yeah, it's a bit sluggish right now from the 70s, but everything else is worse. Lincoln, 30 minutes in. Outbound Lincoln, 30 to 45 from 11th, better from 9th. The outbound of Holland's a half hour on the Jersey side of the Newark Bay Extension, the better bet. Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, Citybound Midtown Tunnel, plenty of extra traffic. To and from Staten Island, finally, all of these bridges are in pretty decent shape. Staten Island Expressway, a whole lot of westbound traffic goes from the Verrazano out through Richmond Avenue and down the Shore Garden State Parkway. Some southbound traffic from Wall all the way down through Toms River. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Yes, there are still concerns about the heat, but the haze, courtesy of all those wildfires going out of Canada, took center stage today. We're talking numbers that were at 150, which is a lot, now hovering well past 200. Not good at all. We turn to AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson now for the very latest reading. Brian.
Yeah, and a lot of these numbers closer to 250 now, Larry, and even starting to see some numbers pretty close to 300 in parts of New Jersey, even into the city right now. So again, we're into very unhealthy levels of air quality right now, especially across New Jersey, through the city, or through a lot of Westchester County too. Even Long Island is starting to get worse now. We're starting to see numbers closer to 200. We were around 150 earlier. We've been seeing this thicker smoke coming in from the west throughout the afternoon. So from west to east, we've been seeing these air quality numbers kind of going down really ever since about noontime. I think we're going to have these very unhealthy numbers through much of the evening, probably even into the overnight hours. There are some signs that at least the worst of the smoke is going to get pushed off to our south and west, at least during the day tomorrow. It may start to come back north and east as we head into tomorrow night, but I think we will get a break for a while during the day tomorrow. At least that's the way it looks right now. Larry?
Okay, thank you, sir. And Mayor Mamdani, in the meantime, says this is probably one of the worst days we've had lately with this haze. He says, don't be a hero now. Don't be a macho person.
If you were thinking that today would be the day that you would finally take that run, let it be tomorrow. This is a day where this is a serious impact, and it's coming alongside temperatures in the mid-90 degrees, which also is something that needs to be treated with seriousness, given that we know that our city loses about 500 New Yorkers a year to the effects of heat.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Meantime, on Long Island, they're feeling it too, altering their outdoor activities.
This 8-year-old was with Grandma today after his summer camp was canceled because of the smoke in the air.
Smelled the smoke, and I saw it yesterday a lot. I saw that the sky was yellow, and the sun this morning, like he said, was a little red.
And this mother and daughter tried to go for a walk in the park.
It smells like smog, but that's what my daughter was just saying, that she's itching all over, and I was like, I don't know how long we can do this walk. Yeah, I think we're probably just going to do like a couple minutes and go back inside.
She said she could not walk the dog because she was too afraid for her pet's health. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. on Long Island.
The city's Office of Emergency Management, by the way, says free KN95 masks are still available at NYPD, FDNY, as well as public libraries all across the boroughs. Be sure to stay with 1010 Winds throughout the evening and, of course, on into tomorrow. This isn't going to go away overnight, by the way, and the numbers continue to escalate. As you heard Brian say earlier, we are up all night, folks. We'll continue to watch this, and we will keep you posted. Stay with us and AccuWeather for the very latest. And now, Bloomberg Money Watch.
High mortgage rates are getting much of the blame for two disappointments today. The National Association of Home Builders says the construction industry is growing more gloomy over its prospects. And the National Realtors Association says U.S. home contract signings fell a worse than forecast 5.4% in June. Essentially confirming that mortgage rates remain a key drag on housing, today Freddie Mac says the average 30-year fixed loan rate hit 6.55% last week, highest in nearly a year. Stocks down, Dow fell 106, NASDAQ down 387, S&P down 39. I'm Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM.
1010 Winds, all the headlines I need.
At any time of the day, wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing.
Gotta know what's happening in my city. 1010 Winds
on 92.3 FM. Good evening, I'm Lori Madden. The FDNY thinks it was a crime. A new development tonight in connection with a fire that gutted a Brooklyn church.
Churchgoers and members of clergy hearing the news that their historic South Bushwick Reformed Church was apparently set on fire intentionally has people heartbroken.
Added another level of devastation to the already grieving community.
Pastor James Stewart can't believe it.
To know that it was an intentional act, we certainly want accountability for the perpetrator, but we also believe, as is our faith, about grace. We've been thinking about the perpetrator, their heart, why they would do something like this.
He and all of his parishioners hope one day they can rebuild and pray together here again. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM at the South Bushwick Reformed Church.
Winds News Time 6:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
Well, here is Queens, the Cross Island Parkway southbound coming down to UBS Arena. That's a crash, and that's a mess all the way back through at least Northern Boulevard. And again, the southbound Clearview, while it's not going to be your cure-all for everything, it's not going to take you as far as you'd like. It's going to be better for what it can do. In Queens, eastbound BQE after the Long Island Expressway, right lane still out because of a crash, and you got brake lights all the way back from Flushing Avenue. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. City-bound side of the George, lower levels fine, upper levels just an extra couple of minutes now. The west side highway slow ride from the 70s on up. East side of town a slow ride from the 20s up towards the GWB. Now the Lincoln Tunnel 30 to 40 in, 40 out from 11th, you on 9th. Outbound Holland Tunnel is going to run you 30 to 40 minutes. The inbound Skyway is a mess. The Newark Bay Extension, that street's better. And again, the Clearview Throgs Neck, the best of it across the Upper East River. It's getting bad in Brooklyn, and boy, this happened in a hurry. Westbound Belt Parkway right after Pennsylvania Avenue. You got a crash, and it looks like you got multiple lanes out here on the westbound Belt near Pennsylvania Avenue. A crawl going back to Erskine Street. Eastbound Belt with brake lights over to Pennsylvania Avenue from Flushing Avenue. Greg Rice, 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of your AccuWeather forecast. Here is meteorologist Brian Thompson.
The air quality remains at very unhealthy levels across most of the tri-state here late this afternoon. Air quality index values now over 200 across the vast majority of the area. It is going to stay it will stay partly cloudy tonight. We're going to continue to have this pretty thick haze, and visibility has been as low as about a mile or so in parts of the area here over the last couple of hours. We'll see a low around 73 tonight. The air quality alert still in effect through midnight tonight. It continues through midnight tomorrow night across New Jersey, where the smoke's going to be a little slower to clear into tomorrow. So we do expect unhealthy air quality through a good chunk of tonight. And then for tomorrow, hazy sunshine and some clouds. Again, at least the worst of the smoke likely gets pushed off to the south and west. But like I said, across New Jersey, it's going to take longer than the rest of the area. So we'll get to a high of 87 tomorrow. So we should have at least somewhat improved air quality. I don't know if it will necessarily be healthy air, but should be an improvement over what we're seeing right now. Turning more humid tomorrow night. It's going to be partly cloudy and warm, a low of 72. The humidity's back on the rise Saturday. It'll be pretty cloudy. We'll have some showers and a thunderstorm or two. Any storm could produce flooding downpours and gusty winds. Saturday's high near 80. Then the humidity drops on Sunday. Clouds and a shower early, then partly sunny, breezy and warm. 83 the high Sunday. Right now, a lot of haze. We're at 85 degrees, and Midtown are going down to 73. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Last year's helicopter crash in the Hudson may have been caused by a bird strike. The National Transportation Safety Board says the remains of several geese were found in the wreckage of the sightseeing helicopter that plunged into the river. The report describes evidence and witness accounts suggesting the helicopter struck several birds before it plummeted. The FAA says helicopters are especially vulnerable to bird strikes because they fly at low altitude. All on board last year's crash were killed, the pilot and a family visiting from Spain. The NYPD Training Academy has been named for a late detective who forgave the teenager who shot and paralyzed him in 1986.
From this day forward, may the Police Academy forever be named the Detective Stephen D. McDonald Police Academy.
At a moving ceremony including friends, family, Mayor Mamdani, current and former officials, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says McDonald will continue to inspire.
In him, New Yorkers saw courage carried across a lifetime, forgiveness made real, and a form of service that grew out of suffering into something enduring.
McDonald was shot and paralyzed 40 years ago, went on to forgive his shooter, and spoke to police departments and students the world over on finding peace and purpose. Juliette Papa, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
It's smoke on top of smoke for firefighters amid these poor air quality conditions today. 5 New York City firefighters are recovering from injuries tonight. 2 of them were seriously hurt, battling a 4-alarm blaze in the Fordham section of the Bronx. No residents were hurt as that fire, which started in the basement of one home, jumped to another house on Briggs Avenue. Deputy Assistant Chief Tim Keenan.
Companies were faced with basically 3 floors of fire in 2 different buildings, so 6 floors of fire in total that they had to combat in the early moments of the operation.
No word on the cause of the blaze. 85 degrees now, very hazy from the smoke from the Canadian wildfires. We're going down to 73 degrees tonight. Your news, your station. 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, 85 degrees at 6:40. I'm Lori Metten, and here's what's happening. The air quality in the 5 boroughs and surrounding areas is at very unhealthy levels this hour, deep into the 200s, a red zone on the meter, thanks to the smoke from the Canadian wildfire.
If you were thinking that today would be the day that you would finally take that run, let it be tomorrow.
A live update coming up in just a moment from AccuWeather's Brian Thompson. If you have to be outside in these smoky conditions, the city has been giving out free KN95 masks at police precincts, libraries, and some firehouses. A shark sighting today closed beaches to swimmers on Long Island between Point Lookout and Atlantic Beach. The White House suspends a teleprompter operator accused of betting on the president's speeches and winning big on calcium. Manhattan's Madison Square Park is over the moon for a new tree that has some lunar-related beginnings. 1010 Winds AccuWeather says partly cloudy, warm, hazy tonight, low 73. Another hazy day tomorrow, but it shouldn't be as bad as today. We're going to get that update from Brian Thompson in just a moment. But first, Winds News Time, 6:41. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
On the westbound side of the Belt Parkway, we've got major trouble. You've got all lanes subject to closure on the westbound side of the Belt Parkway over near Pennsylvania Avenue. It's all because of a bad crash that had you backed up from Queens, and the eastbound belt is a mess from right around Plum Beach up towards Pennsylvania Avenue with some rubbernecking and emergency responders. Again, the crash on the westbound belt has all lanes subject to closure near Pennsylvania Avenue in Queens. On the Cross Island Parkway southbound coming down towards the area of Braddock Avenue, they're getting rid of a crash. You're loaded from Northern Boulevard. Southbound Clearview is going to do most of the ride for you, and it's going to do it a whole lot better. Citybound